continuing with the look at my virtual console collection, we are on to Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. I don't know why they called it her Double Trouble, because that sort of tells us that she's going to get cloned or something, which doesn't actually happen, but oh well, it's harmless enough, I suppose. So if you've played the first two games and you know what you're going to get with the gameplay, it's the same great gameplay in my opinion, but there are some differences. Let's go through those first. You play as Dixie Kong in this one, as the title suggests, because Diddy Kong's been kidnapped this time, so he's really not in the mood after all. So who do you get as your partner? Is it Donkey Kong? No, it's Kiddy Kong, who is apparently a cousin that we've never heard of before and haven't really heard of since, but oh well, he seems like a nice enough character. He does pretty much what you'd expect Donkey Kong to do. He's the strong one. He can throw Dixie Kong high up in the air, or he can smash through floors and stuff, because apparently Donkey Kong's been kidnapped as well. K-Rool's getting better with his plans, just kidnap an extra Kong each time. Maybe he'll go for Dixie as well next time. That's not the only difference in the game. The way the map world works in this is different as well, because it's a bit more free roaming. You can go in any direction you want, sort of thing. But the worlds, you tackle them in sort of in order, but there is a bit more freedom to it. So like, you do the first world, then you've got to beat that world to get to the second world, as you'd expect. After you've beaten the boss in the second world, you get a patch. You go and bring that to Funky Kong, who gave you a motorboat at the beginning, and he can now fix his hovercraft with that patch. And that hovercraft lets you go over rocks. And you can then access worlds 3 or 4, and you can do them in either order you want. So I'm going to be a bit rebellious and go straight to world 4. Okay, world 4, what you got for me? I don't need that world 3, and oh, it's a water level. I'm going to go to world 3, I think. Yeah, bird shooting lava balls at me, that's much better. That water level is future me's problem. Although I don't know whether they are labelled world 3 or 4 or not, because you can do them in either order, but you have to beat both of them, because each one of them gives you something, and you need both things to get to the next part of the game. And I won't spoil what it is or what goes on beyond there in case people haven't played the game. I mean, I know the game is 20 years old, but still some people might not want to be spoilt, so I won't talk any further than that. So what else is on this map screen? Well, you've got Wrinkly Kong, who serves as your save point, obviously. You can see her in a cave doing various things, such as napping, playing the N64, or exercising. Yep, that's it, Wrinkly. You do those exercises. God, she's going to be really fit and healthy in the next game, isn't she? Oh. Never mind. You can also use the boats to uncover secrets on the map, such as this one here you find right at the beginning. And your prize for finishing this minigame is this banana bird. Now what are they for? Well, they fly around Wrinkly Kong's cave by the looks of it. That's where they want to live now. But you will need them later on in the game, I will say that, so it's worth keeping an eye out for them. And one way to get them involves these bears. The first one you see will sell you a few things such as a mirror and a shell, which you use with these coins you collect throughout the levels. And it's a sort of a trading sequence kind of thing. You sort of like have that shell and you have to give it to a certain bear and he'll give you a banana bird and things like that. The level gimmicks are back, and it makes each level stand out from the other. So you can have some such as like you have these pulleys that open the doors, or you can have mice in wheels you've got to kill, or barrel shields to get up the tree. Then you'll get to this level and you'll notice there's a timer. If you happen to beat that time, there's a bear that tells you, oh, that's my record, and then if you say to him you beat it, then he'll get angry, that'll move a log, and then you can access another secret to get a banana bird. So there's things like that to look out for in the game, which makes it a bit more replayable, which is pretty cool. But other than that, the levels are pretty much the same as you'd expect. Sort of, you get 100 bananas for an extra life, the 4 Kong letters give you an extra life. You have to collect those giant DK coins again. This time they're held by shield enemies. They're on his shield and you've got to work out how to attack them from behind. Animal buddies are back. You got some great ones like this elephant who can suck barrels towards him, squirt water. He's scared of mice, annoyingly, which this level's based on that. The fact that elephants are scared of mice, you've got to jump on them when they're not in the light, otherwise he'll run away. And then there's this bird thing that just flies above you to collect things in case you didn't want to jump for them or something. I think that's his purpose, I'm not sure. Bonus stages are back in those barrels. Let's give this one a try. Oh, never mind. Swanky Kong is back, and instead of hosting quizzes with questions such as asking us what his name is, he's actually got some fairground stalls where you got to throw balls at targets and beat Cranky Kong at this game, which I find this harder than I should find it, so I can't really talk much about them. There are some great bosses in this game, like the first one here is a giant barrel called Belcher. Don't know why they called it Belcher. Oh, that's why. Very good. And you got this other one, which is a giant spider, which I showed you earlier. There are some levels that introduce new themes, such as this one with waterfalls, where you go in front or behind the waterfalls to access certain things depending on which path you take. And there's also some tree levels, and one of them in particular I quite like because it's a scrolling level. And sometimes when you think, oh, how can the screen kill you in scrolling levels? Well, here they give you a reason by having this giant saw chasing you up, which I thought was quite a nice idea, and it also makes the screen smaller so there's more challenge there. The ends of the levels have these flags which turn pink or blue, whichever character you're playing as, so there's no electric guitar or anything like that. Although this green barrel Kremlin seems to want to celebrate with us. So, to reiterate, this game is fantastic. The graphics and music are both brilliant. It has the same great gameplay from the first two games. The new map system sets this one apart from the other two because you have free reign, sort of go where you want, and it also lends up for more exploration to find certain items that you will need later on. I think this one is my favourite of the trilogy because it was the only one I grew up with. I didn't own it, but I played it when I was younger, so that's why when I got the trilogy, this is the one I had the soft spot for. So that's why I consider this my favourite of the trilogy. So what are you waiting for? Download it now, download the first two, get all three of them if you haven't already, otherwise Kiddy Kong will just throw another tantrum like this. I will now leave you with what has got to be the saddest game over screen you'll ever see. I mean, just look at his face.